The school hallway is full of noise. Parents are standing in line for the parent meeting. Children are peeking out from classrooms. Sophie, a rich mother in a fancy dress, checks her diamond watch. Next to her stands Grace, her maid. Grace wears a simple faded dress. Her hands are rough from work. Beside her, a little boy holds her hand tightly. Sophie looks at Grace and laughs loudly. Sophie says, "Grace, don't talk inside, okay? Your village accent will embarrass me." Some parents hear this. They turn and look. Grace's face turns red. Her lips shake. Grace whispers softly, "I am sorry, madam. I will stay quiet." Sophie copies her voice in a mocking way. Sophie says, "I am sorry, madam. I will stay quiet." And laughs again. People around smile awkwardly. The little boy Eli looks at his mother with pain in his eyes. From the classroom door, the class teacher, Mr. Daniel, watches this. His face becomes serious. 2 hours later, in that same hall, no one is laughing at Grace's accent anymore. Instead, every eye is on Sophie. And her own words come back to hit her like a slap. The morning starts in a big rich house. The kitchen is busy. Pans are on the stove. The smell of toast and eggs fills the air. Grace moves fast between the counter and the dining table. She pours juice. She packs a lunchbox. Her hands are quick, but her eyes look tired. Sophie walks in wearing a stylish dress and high heels. Sophie says, "Grace, where is Mia's school bag? The parent meeting is today. Everything must look perfect." Grace quickly replies, her village accent clear. "Madam, I already put her books and diary inside. Don't worry, everything is okay." Sophie rolls her eyes. Sophie says, "Every time you speak, it feels like some village radio. You live in the city now. Try to talk like normal people." Grace's fingers freeze on the lunchbox. She lowers her eyes. Grace whispers, "Sorry, madam. I will try." Just then Mia, Sophie's 9-year-old daughter, runs in. Mia says, Mom, are we late?" Sophie smiles and hugs her. Sophie says, "No, baby. Today is your parent meeting. I want your teacher to see we are not like these village people." Mia glances at Grace and smirks. Mia says, "Yeah, like her." Mia copies Grace's accent. "Madam, I already put the box." Sophie laughs with her daughter. Grace feels a deep cut inside her chest. But she stays quiet. She needs this job. She needs money for her son's school fees. Because Eli, her son, also studies in the same school. He is in Mia's class. But he is there on scholarship. On the way to school, Sophie sits in the front seat of her car. Grace and Eli sit in the back. Grace whispers to Eli, "Beta, study well. Don't answer bad words with bad words. Okay." Eli nods. Eli says softly, "Yes, Mama. I will make you proud." At the school gate, cars are lined up. Guards help children out. Parents hold files and diaries. Sophie steps out in her shiny heels. Grace opens the door for her. Sophie turns to Grace and says quietly, but sharp like a knife, "Listen. Inside the school, don't talk in your village tongue. If someone asks anything, I will answer. You just stand. Understand?" Grace's voice shakes. "Yes, madam. I will stand behind." Eli looks down at his worn-out shoes. He wants to hold his mother's hand. But he is scared of Sophie. As they reach the hallway, parents are already there. One mother smiles at Grace and says kindly, "Oh, are you also here for the meeting?" Grace starts to nod and speak. "Gee, I am Eli's." Sophie cuts her off, laughs and says, "She's my maid. She just thinks she is part of everything." Then she adds, louder, "And have you heard her accent? Full village FM." Some parents laugh nervously. Others look uncomfortable. Grace's eyes fill with tears, but she holds them back. Mr. Daniel, the class teacher, watches this from the doorway. He sees Grace's shaking hands. He hears Sophie's mocking tone. Inside his mind he thinks, "Today, everyone will see who really should be ashamed." He calls out, "Parents of students from Class 4B, please get ready. We will start one by one." The first name he calls changes everything. "Grace. Eli's mother. Please come in." Sophie stops smiling. "Wait. Grace? Eli's mother? The maid she just insulted is the mother of the brightest child in the class. And this is only the beginning." Grace looks shocked when she hears her name. Grace stammers, "Me? Sir?" Mr. Daniel smiles gently. Mr. Daniel says, "Yes, Grace. Please come. You and Eli both. We'll talk about his progress." Parents in the hall turn and stare. Sophie steps back. She did not know that her maid's son studies here. Not just studies, but is in her daughter's class. Eli squeezes his mother's hand. Eli whispers, Go, Mama. Don't be scared. Grace walks slowly into the classroom. Her feet feel heavy. Her heart beats fast. Inside the classroom, colorful drawings hang on the wall. Charts show top students of the month. On the board, in neat writing it says, Parent-teacher meeting, Class 4B. Mr. Daniel invites Grace to sit. Mr. Daniel says softly, Grace, please sit. You must be tired. You work so hard. Grace sits on the edge of the chair, nervous. She says in her simple accent, Sir, I hope Eli is not making any problem. Mr. Daniel smiles. Mr. Daniel says, Your son is not a problem. He is our pride. He turns a file toward her. There are Eli's test papers, all with high marks. Math, 98. Science, 95. English, 94. He shows another sheet. Best behavior star. Mr. Daniel says, Eli is one of the top students in the class. He is polite. He helps other children. He never makes fun of anyone. Grace bites her lip. Her eyes fill with tears. Grace whispers, Thank you, sir. We study together at night. I don't even know big English words. But I try with him. Her voice breaks when she says this. Mr. Daniel nods with respect. He says, Your accent, your village background, none of that is a weakness. It is your story. And you are teaching your son the most important lesson, kindness. Eli smiles proudly at his mother. Eli says, Sir, Mama always says, if we are poor at least our heart should be rich. Outside, Sophie waits for her turn. She taps her foot, annoyed. Sophie mutters, Why is that maid taking so long inside? It's just a meeting, not her wedding. A few minutes later, Mr. Daniel calls the next parent. Parent of Mia, please come in. Sophie fixes her hair, lifts her bag, and walks in with confidence. Grace and Eli move to one side of the room to stand near the wall. They are about to leave, but Mr. Daniel says, Grace, if you don't mind, please stay. This also concerns you. Sophie frowns. Sophie says, Why is she still here? Mr. Daniel looks serious now. He says, Please sit, Mrs. Sophie. She sits. She expects praise. She feels sure her rich lifestyle and donations will impress him. But the first words hit her like ice. Mr. Daniel says, I want to talk about Mia's behavior. Sophie smiles lightly. She says, Yes, I know she is a bit naughty. But she's a kid. Mr. Daniel shakes his head. He shows a report. Mr. Daniel says, It is more than naughty. Mia has been bullying other children. She laughs at their clothes, their lunch, and even their parents' accents. Sophie's smile fades. Mr. Daniel continues. One boy she often targets is Eli. Sophie turns slowly and looks at Eli. He lowers his eyes. Mr. Daniel says, Mia calls him village boy. She copies the way his mother talks. Other kids have started laughing with her. Sophie feels a strange pain in her stomach. She says, I am sure she doesn't mean it. She's just joking. Mr. Daniel looks straight at her. He asks, Where do you think she learned this? Children copy what they see and hear at home. Sophie remembers that morning. How she and Mia laughed at Grace. How she called her village FM in the hallway. Suddenly, she feels exposed. Mr. Daniel then walks to his desk, picks up a tablet, and plays a short video. It is from the school's CCTV near the hallway. In the video, they can all see Sophie. They can hear her voice clearly. Have you heard her accent? Full village FM. They see Grace's face. Her shaking hands. Eli's sad eyes. The room is silent. Sophie's face turns pale. If you were sitting in this room, the narrator might say to the viewer, how would you feel, seeing your own insult on screen? Mr. Daniel pauses the video. He says calmly, I did not show this to embarrass you, Mrs. Sophie. I showed it because today is not just about marks. It is about what kind of humans our children are learning to be. He looks at Grace. Mr. Daniel says, This mother works in your house. She cleans your floors. She cooks your food. Then she goes home and studies with her son under a dim light. She may have a village accent, but she has a city-sized heart. He turns back to Sophie. And Mia has learned to laugh at that heart, from somewhere. Sophie feels everyone's eyes on her. Her throat is dry. Her fingers tremble on her handbag. For the first time, she feels small. Very small. Mr. Daniel's final words in that moment are like a judgment. He says, Before I talk about Mia's grades, I need to ask you, do you think it is right to shame someone for how they speak? Sophie has no answer. The chapter ends with that question hanging in the air. And her pride hanging by a thread. The classroom is silent. Only the ticking clock can be heard. Sophie's eyes slowly fill with tears. She wants to disappear. She wants to go back in time and delete her own words. She looks at Grace. Grace stands near the wall, holding Eli's hand. Her shoulders are slightly bent, but her eyes are gentle. Sophie whispers, I am sorry. I did not think it was that serious. Mr. Daniel doesn't shout. He simply says, words can break people, especially when they come from someone powerful. He shows Mia's report card next. Mia's marks are dropping. Her behavior remarks are full of red lines. Mr. Daniel says, if this continues, Mia may lose her position in the class. We also cannot allow bullying in this school. You will receive an official warning letter. This is Sophie's instant karma. In the same parent meeting where she wanted to show off, she is now being warned. Her daughter's future at the school is at risk. Sophie's voice shakes. She says, please, give us one more chance. I promise this will change. I will change. Mr. Daniel nods. He says, change is still possible. That is why I am telling you all this. But it must start at home. He then turns to Grace. Mr. Daniel says, Grace, I want to ask your permission. Can I share your story with the other parents later? How you work as a maid, yet still find time to teach Eli. It might inspire them. Grace is shocked. Grace stutters. And me? Sir, what story is there? I just do what a mother should do. Mr. Daniel smiles proudly. He says, exactly. And that is what makes it powerful. He walks to the front of the class. Everyone, he says, you should also know that next month, the school will give a Best Parent and Best Student award. He looks at Eli and Grace. Eli is on the top list for Best Student. And Grace, you are on the list for Best Parent. Grace covers her mouth with her hand. A tear finally falls. Sophie watches, broken inside. She came here as a rich mother. But the woman she laughed at is being honored. This is karma. Not with shouting. Not with revenge. But with truth and respect. Sophie stands up slowly. She walks toward Grace. Her legs feel weak. She says softly, Grace, I am really sorry. For everything. For calling you names. For laughing at your accent. It was wrong. Her voice cracks. She adds, I was proud of money, and blind to manners. You are a better mother than me. Everyone in the room is watching. Some parents nod. Grace wipes her tears. She says gently, Madam, I am not better. We are just different. But no one should laugh at anyone. We are all people. Sophie lowers her head. In front of everyone, she joins her hands apologetically. She says, will you forgive me? And, will Eli help Mia with her studies? Maybe she can learn kindness from both of you. Eli looks at Mia, who stands quietly in the corner. Mia's eyes are red. She whispers, I'm sorry, Eli. For calling you village boy. For laughing at your mother. You can call me names back if you want. Eli shakes his head. He says, my mother says, if someone throws mud, don't throw mud back. Clean your heart, not your hands. I won't call you any name. But we can start again, as friends. Mia nods and gives a small, shy smile. The tension in the room melts away. Later that day in the main hall, Mr. Daniel calls a few parents to share stories. He asks Grace to stand. In her simple dress, with her village accent. She talks about walking long distances to school as a child. About leaving her village. About working in rich houses. And about her dream that her son will not suffer like she did. Her words are not fancy. They are not perfect English. But they hit every heart like arrows. Some parents wipe their eyes. Even the principal claps. And Sophie? She sits in the front row. Clapping the loudest. When they leave the school that day, things are different. In the car, Sophie sits next to Grace in the back seat. She turns to her and says, if you want, we can study some English together at night. And, maybe you can teach me some of your village songs too. Grace laughs softly for the first time. She says, okay, madam. But only if you stop calling my accent a radio. They both smile. Eli and Mia sit together, sharing a snack. Mia says, your mom is cool. Eli replies, so is yours, when she is not being proud. They laugh. The rich mother has learned a big lesson. The poor maid has gained respect. And the children have seen that adults can change. Final moral, voice-over style. Sometimes, we laugh at someone's accent, clothes, or background, without knowing how big their heart is. Money can buy a big house. But it cannot buy good manners. Never judge a person by how they speak. Judge them by how they treat others.